What's up, everybody? Welcome to iOS 3 Raw TV. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Something a little bit different. I haven't made a reply video, response video to another video in quite a while. I want to just put it out there. This is not shots fired. This is not arguing. This is not disagreeing. This is me saying, Nick Trigili, great video about Yarishna that you put out. I think it was explained perfectly. I think that, it was super tactful. It was respectful. I think it was a perfect video. I really did. This video is just to kind of go a little bit further with that because Yarishna actually is a friend of mine. I've known her for, well, we'll get into it in a second. Let's just get into this. But first, it's time for metrics. So I don't know what's going on out there with you guys, but I do eat a lot of rice in the meals that are not nutrition solutions. It's kind of my go-to carb. It's easy to digest. It's easy to make. Put it in the rice cooker and it cooks. But this is the last, well, there was one more bag of rice in this one, the one that's down in the cupboard. No more rice at the store. So I don't know if you guys are having food shortages or not. We are having them here in, depends on where you go here, but the food shortage is like rice gone. I mean, I can't remember the last time there was not a single bag of jasmine, white, brown, whatever, just gone off the shelves. So things are getting pretty bad out there, guys. So just be aware, get the food while you can, stock up while you can. But yeah, it's not looking too good. So let's put this away. Here we have Brady taking his fifth nap of the day already. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning. It's his fifth nap of the day right, buddy? So this blanket is super soft blanket. It's awesome. Like we have a bunch of them. We have like two in the bed. We have one on the couch. We're going to wrap up on the couch. But he likes to lay on these blankets. And then what we do is we pile up the pillows because inevitably he'll wind up like climbing up this thing right here and plopping down and sleeping on the pillow. So you take your nap. Daddy's going to film a video, okay? Good boy. All right, let's get into this video. You guys can see Brady over there. He's going to be taking his nap over there. So let's get into this. So recently, Nick Trigili put out his video on bullshit, bodybuilding and bullshit, I think it is. Not bullshit bodybuilding, I think it's bodybuilding and bullshit. About Yarishna that a lot of fans have been asking, was she natural back when she did Bikini, et cetera, compared to now? And he put out the video, and the video was very tactful. I thought it was very respectful. Honestly, I didn't see anything wrong with it. It was just a bunch of pictures that had visual aids, which would definitely, help explain things the way he was breaking it down. And he showed pictures of her like before she really trained and stuff, and pictures when she was competing in Bikini, and then pictures now where she's jacked. Now, let me get into the background of me and Yarishna. So, Yarishna, when she first came around the NPC and the IFBB again, long story short, there was a girl named Yashira years ago. And I don't follow the women's divisions. I'm sorry. I just think it's creepy when guys follow the women's division so closely that they know like what their favorite color is and all that shit. Like it happens, and we've seen it before. My good friend Danny Reardon, Danny, love you. When we were with Primeval, we saw this guy stalk her at an expo. It was crazy. The dude was creepy as fuck. And he literally came up, was like being weird to her. And then we'd see him like wherever we went as a group of Primeval, he'd be there. Like the dude would be there, like standing behind a column, like, it was bizarre. Like the whole crew saw it. We were like, fuck, we actually just kind of left the building because the guy was so fucking creepy. So, I've seen weird shit like that where people get too into things. So I don't really know much about the athletes other than they compete here, they won this, whatever the case may be, but whether they're active competitors, whatever, but I don't really know anything about them in general. Like, it's just not my thing. Like following these women's divisions, like again, I feel like you're creepy if you're doing that. But if you're following these ladies, more power to you. Fans, great. So I didn't really know much, but I thought Yashira, when Yarishna came back, I have dyslexia. So Yarishna looks like Yashira to me. It doesn't look any different. The letters all jumble up together, and I couldn't tell the difference. So I thought it was Yashira coming back, and she was a very slim bikini competitor back in the day. I said, wow, she looks so different. It never dawned on me it was a completely different woman. Now, as time went along, I kept seeing more and more. Yarishna's really good with the social media. She's constantly putting out content, constantly sharing her life with everybody. She's out there doing the business of bodybuilding where, she's consistently got herself not in the spotlight, but she, for her fans, she has herself on her page and is consistent with new content all the time. Great. Now, that all being said, I realized it wasn't the same woman. I said, man, I can't believe that's a completely different girl. Okay, cool. Then I was like, well, who is this new Yarishna? I didn't really know much about her. I thought it was Yashira. And all of a sudden, I started looking through the content. I'm looking at her going, this girl is insane looking. Like, the muscle bellies, everything that Nick said, I was like, she's amazing. I don't understand, like, where she came from, right? Because the wellness division, which we'll get into in a minute, wasn't around before. So the more I dug a little bit, I did find the pictures of her that she did bikini, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, so she used to do bikini, and I'm like, I don't remember her as a bikini competitor because I didn't really follow bikini, right? So I did, look through the pictures, and she was bikini, and then she went to the WBFF. So she was, I believe, IFBB Pro Bikini. Then she left and went to the WBFF because it was a bigger, harder look in the WBFF, right? And I said, okay, well, that was, she's progressing, she's getting bigger. Not like how she looks now, but kind of in between now and when she was in the IFBB, that was the WBFF. And then wellness came along. And of course, wellness is a hot division. It's the new thing. It's big. It's big right now. It's growing more every day. And next thing you know, she wants to come back and compete in the IFBB wellness. And the IFBB told her, hey, you're a pro over here. You gave up your IFBB pro card. We don't just give you your pro card back when you give it up. You have to go and qualify again. So she did. She went right back, qualified at a show, did a national show, which was, I believe, Universe, and then won and got her pro card. Now she's competing as a pro. But right about then is when I actually started to hear about who she was, right? Because the wellness thing was starting to build up. You're starting to hear about it. My boy Johnny Styles, the godfather of wellness, kind of telling me, look out for this one, look out for that one, et cetera, et cetera. So finally, I'm seeing these pictures, and I'm like, she's good. And we got the first Olympia in 2021 for wellness coming up. We have the first shows coming up. The Pittsburgh Pro, I believe, was the first real big show where they got to look at who would be at the Olympia. And there was Yarishna, and everybody was touting her as like the look, like she has the look. Yarishna has the look. So so 2020, I was at Nationals, and she walks by, and I looked. I said, I think that's that Yarishna girl. And I'm looking at her, and in person, guys, no matter how good you think she looks online, she looks even better in person. All right, so I'm just telling you right now, she looks crazier in person. So I stopped her, I talked to her for a few minutes, and I said, man, I'm gonna take a picture and post this so people can see compared to me, and at the time I was about 220, like what she looks like next to a 5'9", 220 guy. I mean, her legs are just crazy, and she's always like dressed really nice, makeup is good, she does everything all the time. So I didn't know that would lead to us actually becoming friends. Like we wound up running into each other at these different shows on the road all the time. And then in Virginia, she comes here a few times a year to Virginia, maybe even more than that now. And when she comes, we always get together. We'll head out to the different seminars and stuff like that. And I'll make it a point, like if she's at a seminar or whatever, I'll go out there and see her at the seminar because she can't really be taken off while she's doing these seminars and stuff. And her husband, Luis, who's also a competitor, he's a national level physique competitor that he's been at nationals and North Americans, like all these different, competitions that I see him at too. And the more I get to know her, the more I realize that she's a really sweet girl. She's trained super hard. But that's the background on how her and I actually met. So we actually are friends. Now, here's the thing. For the background, I guarantee she won't see Nick's video unless somebody sends it to her. So there's just so much stuff that people post about her so often that there's just so much going on that it's impossible for her to see everything. And some of it's negative, some of it's positive, most of it's positive. But in general, when you have that much stuff, much like Rich Piana, you can't see it all. So unless somebody sends that to her, she probably won't see it. So the backstory of what's going on with what you see in those pictures probably wouldn't be told. Now, I told you guys that she was originally a bikini competitor, went to the WBFF to be whatever they have there, which is similar to bikini and figure in between, and now she's back in wellness. Well, as I started to get to know her and sit down with her, I started asking her questions because that's me. I'm inquisitive, right? Not because I want to report on it, but excuse me, because she's my friend and I'm trying to learn about her. I do that pretty much with everybody in my life. I ask questions, right? So originally, I don't know how many people know this. Originally, before she started competing, she's very thick. Muscle-wise in her legs, they build very fast. And she wasn't even really training back then. She does also, whether you know it or not, have a identical twin sister. There's Yarishna and Karishna. Now, Karishna has like this tattoo like in her stomach here, right? When you put them side by side, Yarishna obviously isn't a competitor. Obviously, she's not doing the things that Yarishna does. She's obviously not training like that. She doesn't eat like that. But you can see, standing side by side, the genetics. If you go way back and look at some of Yarishna's photos, she's not in contest shape. She's fit, but that's part of her genetics. But her genetics are to be big. And I mean big legs, big glutes. Whether you're training or not, they're going to be big, thick, full, fat. It's all going to be there. It's just how it is. Her and her sister, both, exactly the same. So, of course, Yarishna, different level with the competition stuff, but their physiques and their frames, exactly the same. So you can see what Yarishna would look like if she wasn't doing everything she was doing for competition, pretty much in her sister, and she's still thick. She's a thick girl, right? So being a naturally thick girl, for her to get down to bikini, and I've heard this so many times as a judge, it's hard. You can't get down because bikini is a much smaller look. Like, you know, they're muscular and they do have more muscle than they used to, but it's a smaller look than a lot of women can get to, especially in the lower body, right? A lot of times, whether it's genetics like Yarishna or athletics that they play as a kid, right? Field hockey, soccer, gymnastics, volleyball, this constant jump. Well, volleyball, they're kind of tall. But all these different things that you do when you're a kid that build up that muscle mass in your legs, that when you're now trying to compete in your 20s, 30s, whatever the case may be, that muscle, when you start lifting weights, comes right back. And it's very hard to lose. It's hard to put a physique together where you're trying to just shrink your legs or just shrink this. Things get very hard to deal with. So she was shrinking down and starving herself to get in shape for the bikini. When she was competing in bikini, that wasn't like a look where, and you're talking like, I'm not going to speculate into calories, but you're talking very low calories, very high amounts of cardio. And, you know, you're starving yourself essentially. And that got to be too much, which is why she moved to the WBFF, right? She jumped to WBFF because she didn't want to keep her weight down like that. It wasn't healthy. So she went to WBFF, and then wellness came along and it fit her physique more. There are women out there that wellness will fit their physique more. We're seeing it with a lot of women wanting to jump from bikini over to wellness. Excuse me. And some have even gone to figure because they can put more muscle on, and they just can't fit into that bikini division anymore. I think a lot of times they look at the bikini division as the entrance to competing. Like, even because it's the smallest division stature-wise, physique-wise, they figure, well, that's where I'll start because I don't have enough muscle for physique. I don't have enough muscle for figure. I don't have enough muscle for wellness. So they start there. When realistically, they could really just go in as a small fitness competitor and grow from there, or a small wellness competitor and grow from there. They suck down to this bikini division and they wind up not being healthy and have bad blood work and not feeling good, ruin relationships, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So that was the whole key, was moving from the bikini division to the wellness. But now I'm not saying, I mean, right now she looks crazy. Nick is right. The quads, the hamstrings, the glutes, everything is just like, and it's just there. I mean, it's just, like you said, the hamstring drop and stuff. And again, if you see her in person, you're like, holy shit. Like, that's just how it is, right? But her natural physique, for those of you that were asking, her natural physique is more towards wellness than it was bikini. And what I'm meaning is if she stopped, you know, doing everything and stopped working out and stopped dieting and everything like that, she would be somewhere in the middle. She wouldn't be as big as she is right now with wellness, but she wouldn't be like she was with bikini either. Like, she's a naturally thicker girl, stronger girl. Now, there are the videos that she puts up where she's squatting, and I mean, she's doing crazy weight, like squatting 315 ass to the grass. I've seen her doing that other, I don't know if it's the assault or whatever the squat machine is. I know guys that can't do 4 plates straight down to the bottom and up, and she's doing 4 plates on each side, boom, 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 no problem, right? Not only is she strong, but I'm telling you from experience from being around her, she loves to train. Her and her husband, Luis, will train for like 3 hours. I mean, set after set after set after set after fucking set. And I'm sitting there going, I would overtrain in half of her workout. An hour and a half, I'd be fried no matter what the fuck I was taking. With the volume that she does, she sleeps, because we were at this seminar about 2 weeks ago, and I think somebody asked her about sleep. She sleeps 8 hours a night and takes a 2-hour nap. That's very similar to what Kevin Levrone used to do, what Jay Cutler used to do, what a lot of the guys used to do back in the day when they were growing, right? So now you have this perfect storm of, you know, a woman who, her whole, you know, work, her job, her career, whatever you want to call it, is fitness, right? She's a top level competitor. She's 3rd at the Olympia, right? She technically, you know, we have other athletes walk into these seminars. She walks in, people stand up and start fucking clapping and hooping and hollering. You know, it's amazing how much support she has and how many people really, really love her. So that's her job, right? So it's not only her job, but it's her passion. So she's in the gym cranking this weight out, set after set. Like, I'm sitting here shaking my head and I'm like, this is crazy. She eats like a contest diet pretty much year round. She doesn't get much more. I think she's told me 10 pounds is the most she'll go over contest weight. But on 10 pounds on her, it doesn't look like 10 pounds on the average person with that frame. 10 pounds on her looks like 3 pounds. She's still veiny. She still has cuts everywhere. She's never out of shape, right? And I've seen her first thing in the morning when she gets up, waiting for the elevator. She comes walking out of the room. We get in the elevator together. She's going to do cardio. Like 5 o'clock, and you know, she gets in at 11 o'clock. She's back down there doing cardio, you know, and she's not even contest prepping and she's doing stuff like that, right? So she's consistent with her training, consistent with her eating. Luis, her husband, actually does her diet. He takes care of all the macros and stuff like that. So it's like, it's a team that they go through this whole thing together. And in the end, she produced a physique that, I mean, realistically, nobody had really seen, that type of physique from her as long as she's been around in the industry, right? But here's the thing. Nick was like, why would she want to do that? Everybody would kill to have the physique that she had before with Bikini, right? Why would you want to keep building muscle? Why would you want to do that? Because now she's at the top of the sport. In Bikini, she was just another face. Here, she's the top of the sport. Despite Franciella winning the Olympia, despite Angela Borges, beating her in one competition, she's still considered the wellness queen. It's all the support. It's her career. At the same time, it's what she loves to do. So why would you go stay in Bikini when you're trying to go through the ranks to get to the Olympia, when in wellness, that was where her physique fit better? And it did. It pushed her right to the top, and it gave her a great social media presence, right? A career. It gave her everything that she has right now, and she's still accelerating at it. Like, she's still building up a fan base more and more now. It's not like she's tapped out and said, well, that's it. She's continuing to grow her fan base worldwide at a really fast rate. And the more people that see her, like when Nick puts his video out, and there might be people that didn't know who she was, when people see her, they're like, what the hell? They want to know more because, again, the legs are crazy looking. The condition is crazy looking. You watch her train, she's super strong. Like, it's interesting to us because we haven't really seen a woman come around like that. Like Nick talked about the women in like Brazil or whatever. Those are fake plates. Those are not 45-pound plates that those ladies are squatting. I mean, you look at, the leg press, they pile all these plates on. You take them off, you can take them, flip them up in the air and catch them like this. They're not 45-pound plates. They're like 10-pound plates. Those ladies put 5, 6 plates on each side and they're squatting. The bar isn't even moving and bending. The bar is completely straight, which means those things don't weigh shit. Then you see her come out, Yarishna come out and do this stuff. She's using the weights here in the American gym, and she's in different gyms all the time. So it's, yes, it's still 45 pounds, but it's not like every gym has fake weights where she's using fake weights. So I'm looking at it going, you have a combination of something we just haven't seen much before since the bodybuilding days, right? Since the days in the 90s where we had just the women's division open. We didn't have bikini, we didn't have figure, we didn't have anything, right? We just had women's bodybuilding. We saw people like Bev Francis, or women like Bev Francis. We saw like Kim Chivesky, Laura Creval. These ladies were pushing fucking weight back then. And then we went through the phase where we started figure, which was actually toned down, so they didn't really use those weights like that. And then we went to bikini, which is even more toned down, so they're using even less weight. And now we have this wellness division, which is, it's kind of in between physique and figure with a little bit of a different look. It's a much bottom, like I call it the bottom dominant look, meaning the legs are much bigger, the upper body's much smaller. There is a taper, but it's all about the legs and the glutes in this division where, as opposed to figure, it's more about the upper body down. They call it the martini glass. It goes like this, down into the legs, like the martini stem. It's the glass comes down like this and goes to the stem. That's more the look for figure, right? Bikini is more of an athletic look. It's really about the glutes, the roundness of the glutes, the proportions, the athletic look. Physique and bodybuilding, of course, are still judged like bodybuilding, and all the body parts count, conditioning counts, etc. So wellness is kind of like this new place that we don't really know much about yet. And she's kind of the first one to really come out, right? And push everything on social media, right? Now, don't get me wrong, this wellness division has been going on in South America for a while and other countries. When it hit here, it was so new, but there's very few people that capitalize like what Yarishna is doing with her social media. That's how she's getting so popular. That's how she's getting so big. It's like she's only competed in a couple of shows as a wellness competitor, right? But it's the social media. It's the seeing day to day. And I think, honestly, that is where social media is going to be going. It has been going. Like Jay Cutler, same thing. Right? Jay doesn't even compete anymore, but his fan base continues to grow now to this day because he shows pieces of himself that he couldn't when he was competing, right? He's like a totally different person. He laughs and jokes, and he's funny now. Before he was very quiet and kind of, soft-spoken, and he was very reserved with the things he said. But now he lets everything fly. You'll hear him say fuck multiple times in a video, and I'm like, man, he never would have done that, back in 1992 or 3 or whatever, or 5, whatever. He turned pro in 96. He'd never done that in 96 because of the contracts you had. He couldn't do that. Right? But now he puts himself out there and he continues to grow. Kai Green, same thing. He hasn't competed in a while. His social media, his brand, his name, his whatever you want to call it, is continuing to grow because he still puts his content out. He still puts stuff out about himself. Like, it's continuous content like that, nonstop. Not like a post one week or just some random post. It's like good quality in the gym, training, eating, talking about this, talking about that, talking about old school stuff, whatever the case may be. And I think that Yarishna just capitalized at the right time when this division came about. And she continues to do the formula that has given her success. So yeah, why would you stay in bikini? Oh, that's a good look. Maybe Nick, likes that bikini look better. You might think it's in a better overall look, maybe that he's attracted to. But for a lot of these bikini competitors, they can't get down anymore, right? It's like Flex Lewis trying to get into the 212 class, right? They can't, because these bikini girls are still training. They're still eating. They still have off season. They're still trying to build a better body to be able to get to the next level, but they can't grow because they're too big, right? And when you're too big, then what happens? We didn't have wellness. Now we have wellness. So a lot of these women that really couldn't fit into bikini, but were fitting anyways, that were doing it to the point where they're almost killing themselves, don't have to do that. But then you say, okay, what is the criteria? You give out the criteria, and now we have all of a sudden maybe 3 or 4 women around that meet that criteria, and they get in a few things like, NPC here, IFBB here, whatever the case may be, a few ads, whatever. People see them and they're like, holy shit. They start to jump on board. And you get on someone like Yarishna or Jay or Kai's social media, and their content is so fresh, so real, so, legit all the time, that you just keep coming back for workout tips to see what they're up to, how their prep's going, whatever the case may be. What new supplement Jay's got coming out, what, crazy thought-provoking thing that Kai is going to say, all these types of things. So in essence, I think that, again, I like where Nick is now, I was about 2 years ago when her and I first met. I didn't really understand. I didn't really get it. And then I met her. And once I met her, I realized that she's even sweeter in person. She's she will talk to you forever. She'll talk to you about the most random stuff. If she's coming to town, she'll be like, hey, I'm coming to town. Like, she'll go out of her way to talk to people. She'll go out of her way to take pictures. She's always in a good mood now. I don't know if that's just because, when she sees people and she's out in public, you put on that front, which a lot of times you do because you never know what somebody's going through. But in general, like, I haven't known anything but positive things about her. I don't know anybody that's said anything negative about her. I know a lot of people that know her. Her good friend, Luis Santo, who's another good friend of mine, also a judge, an IFBB judge, an NPC judge here. And Luis and I travel. It's my snack buddy. He's always got snacks and food on him. They're really close friends, and she comes here to see him all the time too in DMV Iron in Alexandria, Virginia, and they have a giant mural of her painted on the wall, like a giant mural of her. Like, you walk in and it's like the one of Jay at the ones in Vegas. So there's a lot of support for her within the community here in the DMV, Maryland, Virginia, and DC, but it's worldwide too. And I don't think Nick's video was bad. I don't think it was disrespectful. I don't think it was distasteful. I think it was, just Nick being Nick and doing the reporting that he does, and he did it in a really a good way, I think, totally honestly. But there's reasons why, she no longer wanted to have that physique. She no longer could have that physique. There's a whole story that went behind it that I don't think a lot of people know, and I didn't know. Like, I don't know if it's been online. Like, she's telling me this, person to person, face to face. So I don't know how much people do know about her, don't know about her, or how many people got her confused with Yashira like I did. But I think at this point, people, they know who she is. They're digging more and more to find out more about her. And I think that these questions will be answered. Like, it should be all out there online. If not, it is now. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Nick, again, great video. Really appreciate the honesty, to be totally honest with you, the honesty that you throw out there. And, some people don't like honesty. Some people don't like the tone, vibe, whatever the case may be. But the whole point is, guys, let's be real. And I'm not going to talk about Yarishna. I'm not talking about Yarishna. Like, look, whether you're a tennis player, whether you're a bodybuilder, whether you're an Olympic athlete, it doesn't matter who you are. Fred Hatfield, Dr. Squat, his name was Dr. Squat. Dr. Fred Hatfield did my first certification for the ISSA back in 1993. He actually came and we went through all the work in the book and stuff, and then we went into the gym, did practical exams. He was the one training us and teaching us to become personal trainers in 1993. And I remember this one thing, I'll never forget it. And by the way, Dr. Squat was the first person to ever squat 1,000 pounds in competition as a powerlifter. He's world famous, Dr. Squat. He said, do not make the promise to your clients that you will get them to jump like Michael Jordan, run like this person, hit a ball like this person. Do not tell them that you can do that for them. Because every elite professional, and sometimes not even professional, not weekend warriors, but every elite, every professional athlete, every Olympic athlete are using some sort of performance-enhancing drugs, period. And he hammered that home in a whole segment, and I've never forgotten it, and I just look at it as like this, like, look, if you're going to be in athletics, you're going to need at least pain relievers. right? You hurt your knee in football, right? Well, I got to play this weekend. You take some, even if you're taking Advil and Tylenol, guess what? You're taking that to get through the injury to be better at what you're doing at the sport to get through. You're enhancing your performance. Otherwise, without them, you wouldn't be able to do it. So even Advil or something like an aspirin can be considered a performance enhancer, which is why the WADA and USADA list has so many crazy things on it that you're like, how the fuck could this be considered a performance enhancing drug? But they are. If they enhance your performance in any way, they are. So if you're looking at any kind of athletics, drugs are being used. Now, the problem that I have is when these guys and girls go on YouTube, they start talking about what these people are taking. You don't know what the fuck these people are taking. Nobody knows what the fuck these people take except for the people taking it. And even them, like Rich Piana said, it changes all the time. You might add something, take something out. So as long as people are not talking about, oh, I know this person takes this, takes that, takes this, I'm cool with it. Saying somebody takes something or they don't, totally cool with it. I mean, let's be fucking real. This is 2022. We're not fucking stupid anymore, right? We're not ignorant anymore. So thank you guys for listening again. I'm going to try to wrap this video up, but my attention deficit disorder just got me today. I have so much to say because I'm feeling a lot better. You know, from the last, it's week number 3, I'm feeling better. I'm in the gym training. I'm feeling better. My weight's back up a little bit. So I'm just pumped to be back feeling like myself. So if I'm talking too much, guys, remember, that's me and that's what I do. BioStreetTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BioStreet.com to the blog. It's to think about a bicep realistically, and we are out.